Hey guys, welcome back to the DTD podcast. Tonight, we have a friend coming back to the show because his big event of the year, the Deep Dive 2021, is getting ready to happen. You've heard his story. It's Lino Miani. Welcome back, man.
Hey, DJ, it's great to be back.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. I've been seeing everything that you've been posting on the internet, on social media, everything about what's getting ready to happen, and it's starting to gain kind of a lot of speed. So I wanted you to come on here, get as many people as you could to maybe come on and register for the 5K or prizes or whatever. And I wanted you to be able to tell them face to face how they can do everything, how they can take a part in this, because it's a pretty cool concept. You didn't have it last year and you're coming back big this year. So if you would just kind of break it down for us. We talked about it a little before on the show, but I want you to get into the real intricacies of it so that we can know everything that we can possibly do to build this event up.
Cool. Thanks. Well, Deep Dive started life in 2019. And it was the first fundraiser that the Combat Diver Foundation attempted to have. And I remember announcing it and deciding that the foundation was going to do this thing and not really knowing what all that entailed. And I was kind of scratching my head, and I'll make a long story short, but I ended up calling a friend, Cam Price, who's the owner of the Floribama, or one of the owners of Floribama, who happens to be a combat diver and a buddy of mine from when we were in the infantry in Hawaii. And I said, Cam, man, I've committed to doing this event. I need some help because I don't really know all the ins and outs and the intricacies of how to do this thing the way I want it done. And I wanted live music, and I wanted food and beer, and I wanted, I wanted raffles and prizes and all that stuff. And just, I wanted it to be a good event for people to come and learn about the Combat Diver Foundation and our mission and have a good time. And he said, look, man, here's what you do. You come down to the Floribama, you have it here. I do this every single night. We got the music, we got the food, just bring the people. And that's what we did. So we kind of tacked on the combat diver specific parts of the event, the static display and the raffles and the prizes and the combat divers themselves that came and joined us down there in the bar. And it was a really small start to what has grown into something larger. So you were right. Last year we didn't do it. We actually did a virtual event because of COVID. And we called it Jump and Dive because the Military Freefall Association also had a similar experience with COVID, and they had to shut down their summer event. So we combined the two. And we had Jump and Dive 2020 last year. It was virtual. That was a learning experience, but it was, I think, overall a successful event. But holy cow, man, we had all kinds of...
I guess as successful as a online event can be.
Yeah, and the online events, and I'll get off on a tangent here, but online events have certain strengths. There's certain things about them that are really good for an organization like this one. And to the extent that we're actually going to do a virtual event every year, but we're going to do it in the winter. So, and it's one of the things we're going to unveil at Deep Dive 2021 is the virtual winter fundraiser with the Military Freefall Association. We call it Jump and Dive. It's going to be in 2022. The details, of course, will follow, but we're going to announce the event this August at Deep Dive. But going back to Deep Dive 2021, that's how the whole idea started. And so, a number of guys came down. We drank a lot of beer, and we talked a lot about the foundation's mission and how to get there and how to bring the community together. And so we've incorporated a lot of those lessons learned and into this year's event. So this year's event, Deep Dive 2021, on 21 August, you can't, 21, at the Floribama. Going to have some live music. It's going to be a daytime event because we're going to have a 5K on the beach. All right. The 5K is going to be in memory of a combat diver that lost his life earlier this year, John Worka. His family is participating in this thing and helping us kind of do some of the organization. So we're real happy to have them on board, and we hope that we can help them. And at a minimum, raise some awareness about the issues that a lot of our veterans and service people have when they come back from, the work that we've been doing around the world. And as you know, I mean, even if you weren't involved in direct combat or horrible things downrange, it's still a grinding lifestyle. You're gone a lot. It's a lot of stress on a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So we want to bring some awareness to that. We're going to do a 5K for John Werka. We're also going to have a raffle, an auction, parts of which can be participated from anywhere in the world. So those are virtual in that sense. So you can bid on the prizes from wherever you happen to be sitting. You don't have to be down at the Floribama for that. Some of the raffle prizes can be won that way also. Not all of them, but some of the better ones can, the larger ones. And then, we're going to have a static display of combat diver gear. We're working with one of the units still to try to organize a demonstration at the event. And then, we're hoping to also have a charity dive where we'll auction off seats on the boat. Folks can go out, the donors can go out, dive with a couple of combat divers, make some memories, have a good time, and all for a good cause.
If you don't mind, can we talk about John for a few minutes? Just, I want you to explain about him. And if people hadn't seen the show before or heard the show before, that you and I kind of give the background of why he's been chosen for this year, because as you said, there's a lot of problems associated with coming back and stuff. So I want you to explain to everybody who may have not heard it before why you've chosen John to be the kind of ambassador of this year's deep dive.
Yeah, John came up on a list of names, and we had everything from guys who were killed in combat this year or in years past, in this war or previous ones, like in the Vietnam era. But we chose John because at the time there was a lot of attention being focused on the problem of veteran suicide, and John was a active duty service member suicide. And it's surprising when you look at John from the outside, and I never met the man, but you can read about him and about him, and you talk to the people that were around him. This is not someone that was prone to losing control of his environment or himself. This was a man who had overcome a great many challenges that frankly are worthy of respect. He was a combat diver. He was a Green Beret. He was a leader within that context. But we found that even we aren't immune to that kind of pressure and those kinds of effects. And mental health is a real health concern. And if we don't look any farther than John Werka to understand that, then we're probably doing a disservice. So John, we thought, was a good example at the right time for raising awareness of an ongoing problem that affects the military writ large, and not just the military, but first responders and people that have those kinds of stressful jobs. And we treated it carefully. I told the team, "Hey guys, I like the idea of memorializing John Werka in this context with this event, but his family has to be on board. So let's get in touch with the Werka family and ask them." And I gotta say, his wife Erica has been an absolute hero, and we're going to do an interview with her and some others about the problem that the military has, and she'll be very direct, far more so than I will. Because she's experienced it in a different way. So, look forward to that, because we really are trying to raise some awareness here. It's not just drink some beer and have a good time on the beach. There's a little bit of a purpose behind it.
And I think, like you said, I think it's a good idea to bring the family in, to bring them down there, to actually be a part of it. You can meet them. You can see how those problems have affected them, because it's going to be different for everyone, but it's especially going to be different for a family member who was maybe never in the military, maybe was never a first responder, anything like that has dealt with those pressures. You can see what they deal with on a day-to-day basis and understand that it's not necessarily an easy life to live. Even though you're not in the middle of it, you still kind of are, being a family member. So I think it's a great idea to bring the family into it. Now, a couple of the things that you want to do for the deep dive, let's talk about the Memorial 5K. The reason that I want to talk about it is because it's not just a 5K there, but it's also a virtual 5K. So you can do it pretty much anywhere you want as long as you send in your scores and your times and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
I, I gotta say, we're living in the right time, technologically speaking, to have this pandemic. Because can you imagine being locked down for a year and a half, in whatever circumstance you're in, because of the pandemic, and not being able to have meetings or talk to your loved ones, or collaborate with people?
Yeah.
I mean, geez, we're kind of lucky in that respect. And so one of the aspects that came out that technology has enabled is virtual competition. And so I kind of thought in the back of my mind, we can have a virtual 5K, but I didn't know how that would work. So the company that we've contracted to help us organize the event, the 5K itself, they brought it up, said, "Hey, do you want virtual runners?" And I said, "Yes, I'm all about it." So what that means is you can participate in the 5K from wherever you're at. And the way there's two ways that works. You can wear an input device like an Apple Watch or something like that measures your distance and time. And I'm not an expert on that stuff, but those who use those apps know how they work. And you
Right.
can upload your results into the race system, and be competitive with the other virtual runners. So there's basically two competitions going on at once. There's the runners that are in person, and then there's the virtual runners. Now, the virtual run, you can run at any time in a window starting on 1 August. And then it starts at 5 a.m. on 1 August. You can run at any time during that period of time up to the date of the event itself. So 21 August. Upload your results either from your Apple Watch, or there's a way you can do it with video. And then those results get compiled, and you'll get racked and stacked against other virtual runners. And there's prizes for the age groups there. And now the prizes, actually, you can see them. I don't know if you've got a picture of it,
I do.
DJ, but
I do.
The
Which one
medals
do we
are
want to
really,
look at first?
I want to see the medals from the run, because they're really nice. I don't know if you have those.
I don't have those up.
That's all right. They're on the website. So if you go to combatdiver.org/2021 5-5K, you'll see the medals on there and the race T-shirts. The race T-shirts are part of the package. Your run bib is part of the package. Whether you're a virtual runner or not, we're going to send you one of those. And it's just going to be a really well-organized, classy event.
Well, I see that you have some people involved that we have talked to in the past. Tom Satterley has come on board with you with All Secure and with Arsenal of Hope. And so I think that this year, more than any year before, which only 2019, but the virtual event in 2020, you've really started kind of opening up that door all over the world, because Tom's a big guy to talk about exactly what you were just saying about John, that there's a problem out there and that he has a group that wants to help find the solution to it. So I think that we've gone past combat diver, we've gone past special operations. We've even though Tom was a D-boy and everything, we've gone kind of worldwide with it and brought people in like Jen, his wife, and stuff that have a different perspective of it.
Yeah. Tom and the All Secure Foundation, he and his wife and their team have been multi-year sponsors of this event. And we're real thankful for that. And especially this year when we're trying to raise that awareness, Tom and Jen are the right people to be involved with it. And so we're very grateful that they have donated their copies of their books. And these, if you win that prize in the raffle, they will inscribe it to your specifications. And that's how we did it last year too, is the winner, we'll get in touch with the raffle winner for that prize and say, let us know what you want Tom and or Jen to write in your book, and they'll send it to you.
Yeah. And Jen's just came out this year. So, yeah, so it's going to be an addition on to All Secure.
Yeah. So that's a really neat prize. The same for Wes Bryant's book. He and Dana Petard, who wrote Hunting the Caliphate, are going to inscribe that in a personalized way for the winner.
Great book. I just talked to him last night.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Wes is a really good guest.
Yeah, we did not interview last night, but we were talking back and forth about the book and everything that's going on. So another fantastic book. What's great about that book, if people don't know to win the prize, is it sees it from a command level and from a guy on the ground level of everything that's going
Mhm.
on. So it gives you a dual perspective on everything that was going on at the time when we were fighting the ISIS threat. So another great prize. So let's talk about registration for the 5K real quick. How they do it for virtual, and then how they do it for in person.
Basically, it's an option that you can choose when you register. So you can register for the 5K, and if you register for the 5K virtually or in person, you will also get a ticket or a link to register for the auction so that you can bid on prizes also. So now, for those of you who want to just come to the event and bid on the prizes, don't want to run 5 kilometers, you can also just register separately for that. Visit, the Deep Dive webpage, and the links will be right there, right in your face. So you'll have a 5K registration and a auction only registration. It's up to you. Um, but yeah, so when you do register for the 5K, you'll get a race packet, which includes the shirt, the bib, the free ticket for the auction, and then you're off and running, literally.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's talk about the actual charity dive. Now we've talked about it a little bit before, and some kind of finer points of it are being kind of etched out right now. But let's go over the mission, because what it is winning a seat on a boat, being able to take part in an underwater memorial ceremony. But for the people that don't know, how can they get involved in it, and how could they possibly get a seat on that boat?
Yeah, we're still working out the details on that. So the pandemic has been really hard on dive operators and charter boat operations down in the Gulf. So we're trying to pin that down now. But basically, the way it's going to work is this: we're going to have a boat or boats that are going to run a dive tour, and they will have a certain number of seats, and those seats will be up for auction. And what we are actually getting as a donor for that seat on the boat is you're getting an experience. We're going to put a couple of combat divers in the water with you. They're going to go down and do a ceremony. We're going to take some pictures, make some memories, have a great dive. And it's really just a way to for people that are dive enthusiasts to express their support for the mission and give something back. It's going to be a fun day. So still working that out. Details to follow.
I would just specify in there kind of a caveat to it. You do need to be a certified open water diver. You're not
Yes, you
just
do.
going to take people out there. So be advised before you try and win this. Make sure that you're an open water diver.
Yeah, we're not going to turn you into divers on this thing, because you want to see it on the boat. You have to be a diver ahead of time, and that's it's basic open water certification. We're not going to put you in any kind of deep dive or technical dive situation where you need to have a special permit or a special qualification. It's just basic open water diver.
So quickly, let's talk about the deep dive auction, and
Mm-hmm.
the different things that are going to be available from that. You've got some really awesome prizes. Let's start with the Brotherhood of the Deep original artwork. This thing's
Yeah, this
awesome.
it is fantastic, and I got to tell you, well, first of all, I mean, this is a combat diver reunion. The event is a combat diver reunion. We're going to have a good time. We're going to meet each other. We're going to drink some beer, and we're going to tell stories, and we're going to do some camaraderie. But it's also a fundraiser, and the biggest fundraising aspect of this is going to be the auction. So we've got 5 prizes for the auction, and we've got a bunch more for the raffle. Now, what differentiates the two is the auction prizes are special in the way that you can't just walk into a store and buy these items. Okay. So you can't go online and say, well, how much does the Brotherhood of the Deep cost? Well, no one knows, because this is the original artwork. We're going to auction off the piece of paper or canvas, I'm not sure what it is, that artist Mike Solove put his hand on to create this artwork. So the original art, there's only one of them, and you can get it at Deep Dive. So, and you've got to register for the auction in order to be able to bid on this thing. And so it's important for people to know you can be anywhere in the world and win this. Okay, you've got to register for the auction. You'll get a link for a cell phone app called the Givey app, which you can download, and then you check in for the auction there through the app. And it's really neat. I mean, it's very easy to use. You can look at the prizes. You can swipe right to bid on it, put in how much you want to bid, and it racks and stacks against all the other bidders. It gives you notifications if you're winning or if you get outbid. So it can be pretty neat, but you got to get registered for it.
Private distillery workshop and SOF liquor assortment. This stuff looks pretty cool. I couldn't get a great picture of this one, so let's just talk about the liquor real quick that is involved in it.
Yeah. So the company behind this is Leatherwood Distilleries, and they're right outside Nashville. And Andy Lang is the master distiller there. He and the owner. He is he's an SF veteran, and so you got Green Beret connection, and all of his liquors have some sort of soft theme to them. For example, his primary bourbon brew is called the Snake Eater Bourbon, and they're gaining a lot of popularity. This stuff is really good. Andy has teamed up with Daryl Worley, the country music star who wrote the song "Have You Forgotten." It's a commemoration of the anniversary of 9/11, and the two of them have decided to create some special labels for the 20th anniversary of that event, and we are going to auction off a selection of those bottles. Now that's a limited edition, so they're only producing a certain amount of them this year. So we're getting an assortment of those things, and Andy has thrown in a private distillery tour for the winner. So whoever wins this is taking home specially labeled vintage brews from Leatherwood Distillery with the Daryl Worley labels on them, and they're getting a free distillery tour at Leatherwood Distilleries with Andy Lang. We're real excited about this prize because, one, Andy has been a multi-year sponsor of our events. Two, Andy's exploding in popularity right now, and rightly so. I mean, his stuff is great. But three, this is so unique, and the opportunity to be able to spend the entire day learning how to make booze with a guy like Andy is it's fantastic.
Right.
Makes me want to kind of fudge the results and find a way to win that prize and go have a distillery tour with Andy.
And I'll point out the assortment that you'll win includes a bottle of Snake Eater Bourbon, peach, elderberry, and apple pie moonshine, along with spending the day with a master distiller. So the next prize up would be the CDF Heritage Flag. Let's take a look at that right here. That is absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful artwork to have in your house.
These kinds of artifacts are sort of proliferating right now, but the Heritage Flag Company was one of the originals. They've been doing this for a long time. They're based in North Carolina. The flag itself is made out of American whiskey barrels, the staves from the barrel. And they reshape them and they fashion them in a certain way that, and they create this flag out of it. So each one is handmade. Each one is unique. This one will have the Combat Diver Foundation logo etched into it. And then on the back is a brass placard that gets personalized to the winner. Now this prize is sort of unique because you can actually buy this prize if certain auctions have a buy it now kind of option. This is the only prize that we're offering with that. So if you just really, really like this prize and don't want to get involved in bidding for it and hoping that you win and maybe not, you can buy this prize now and we can just get it to you.
Yeah, it's $1 million.
That's a beautiful
I'm just
piece.
Kidding. It's not $1 million. All right, so
well, you never know. Daryl Worley might come down and bid on it against you and get in a bidding war with Andy Lang, and
So the CDF Commemorative Blade is what we've got up next. This thing, once again, is absolutely fantastic to have.
Yeah, this is the stock photo from the Spartan Blades website, but the one that we're auctioning off actually has the vintage CDF logo etched into the steel. So you'll have the old CDF logo, which looks very similar to this, but has a black bar across the front, etched into that blade. So it's unique. You can't walk into Spartan Blades and get it. It's the Hybris combat/utility knife. And there's a whole story about why the Spartan blades are very good about designing their blades for a specific purpose and then tying that to a historical um, use or a historical event or something that inspired the knife makers to create the knife in the way that it is. So they are really brilliant with the combination of functional utility and a story behind the blade. And this goes back to, if I'm not mistaken, Roman legions and how they organized themselves. And there's a whole story about it on the webpage. But it's a very nice blade, very functionally usable, um, and beautiful on top of that. And it's got that Combat Diver Foundation logo.
Well, this knife is the Hybris. It was known in Greek mythology as the goddess of
There we
insolence,
go.
violence,
Greeks.
pride, and outrageous behavior. The Spartan Hybris combat utility knife inspires pride in its owner, making Hybris a fitting name for it. So, yeah, it's
There we go.
absolutely, it's got an overall length of, it looks like 10 inches, maybe a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Blade thickness of 3/16. So, absolutely fantastic. Now, the last prize that we're going to talk about is actually on the page that we started with, and it's going to be in the bottom left corner, and it's going to be the flag. This is going to be the CDF logo flag. It looks like it's going to be kind of a lacquered wood finished flag again. Yep. With the Combat Diver logo.
Yep. So I got to be careful what I say here. I don't want to get anybody in trouble or expose anyone, but this flag was donated to us by members of 7 Special Forces Group. And it was a surprise. We weren't expecting this particular donation, but when they presented it to us, we were so blown away by the quality and the beauty of this product that we said, look, this is an auction item. This is a special item that, you can't just buy this anywhere. And it is a wood flag. I've forgotten the dimensions, but it's approximately 3 feet across. It's not a small item. And it's got the CDF logo etched into the stripes there, handmade by the guys in one of the shops at 7 Special Forces Group. And they did this on their spare time with their own materials and did it specifically to donate it to the Combat Diver Foundation. And knowing that we were, memorializing one of theirs during the deep dive, it takes on a special significance. And it's a really gorgeous piece, and we're very, very excited to have it.
So let's talk about starting bids. For the Brotherhood of the Deep original artwork, starting bid is going to be $500 with bidding increments of $50. The Private Distillery Workshop and SOF Liquor Assortment is going to be starting bid of $200 with bidding increments of $20. The CDF Heritage Flag is going to start out at $50 with bidding increments of $10. The Commemorative Blade is going to start at $50 with bidding increment of $10, and the CDF logo flag is going to be a starting bid of $50 with bidding increments of $10. So guys, it's really not that much to get involved in this auction. There are a couple of high price things, but there are stuff that's very easy to get in on. I've got a lot of friends that would want to get in on this bourbon and whiskey. So whatever you can do to help out there. Now, another portion that we want to talk about is merchandise that people can purchase. Not only the Memorial 5K, but let's talk about the CDF store. And then on Team Wendy, I think you can win a helmet, correct?
Yeah. So let's talk about the if we want to talk about merchandise, there's direct sales at some of the vendors. They have set up virtual vendor booths. Some of them are like Team Wendy are going to have a vendor booth at the event, a physical booth. Now, Team Wendy has really gone above and beyond, and they've offered 10% off all of their merchandise, all of it, not just what's for sale at Deep Dive, but if you go to their website, and if you're a registered Deep Dive participant, in other words, if you register for our event, you're going to get a discount code that you can use on anything at Team Wendy, 10% off. Now, 10% off doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're talking about a $1,500 ballistic helmet, it starts to make a registration for a deep dive look pretty worth it.
Absolutely.
They've got some fantastic stuff, a whole line of everything from bump helmets to the hardcore ballistic helmets. a lot of the inserts and accoutrement that go with that, the lickies and chewies, where you can attach all your technology to. So really great products there at Team Wendy. And one thing we really like about them, one, they've been a multi-year sponsor of this event too, but they are developing a maritime capability. So they are actually donating a helmet to be raffled off, which can be won at the raffle. And that one it's a bump helmet, but it has a specifically designed maritime liner in it, which is a new product. So really good for combat divers, because you're going to be able to dive with that thing, and it's specifically designed for that.
Let's talk about a couple of your sponsors real quick, because I want to get them out there and I want to get their names known. Let's start with the Floribama Lounge. We've heard you talk about it, but let's go ahead and plug them a little more. Yeah,
Floribama is the biggest sponsor of this event. They're the home of the deep dive. So they're if you register for this, you're going to get tickets for the lunch buffet there and some drink tickets just for showing up. Okay, and so live music on the beach, you really can't beat the environment. And then yes, it's a day event, but we're going to be there at night too, hanging out and tipping a glass to ourselves and our comrades. So it's going to be a great event. Floribama is a great place to have it. Other sponsors that we've got at that level are JFD. So JFD is a globally recognized submarine equipment manufacturer. I mean, they do everything from, no kidding, rescue submarines to combat diver rigs. And it's a British company, but they now have JFD North America, which is actually the sponsor for Deep Dive. And so these guys are going to be there. They're probably going to set up a booth and have a lot of information. And just for everybody's knowledge, JFD is involved in, they're looking at designing the next generation combat diver rigs for the United States military. So important folks to the combat diver community.
You have Team Wendy. We've talked about
Team
them
Wendy's
a little bit.
Sponsor also. Yep. Great company.
Yeah, Valiant Integrated Services and Savage Lender.
Valiant. Yeah, Valiant. If you've been deployed overseas, Valiant has probably been the guys that were running the big logistics and or the facilities where you were working, living, playing. And so we're very happy to have them on board as a sponsor, because they've been, the United States military doesn't go anywhere anymore without civilian companies kind of doing a lot of the infrastructure work behind their care and feeding. And so we're pretty proud to have Valiant behind us here at Deep Dive.
And then, of course, like we said, you have Savage Lender too.
Savage Lender is an SF-owned business, and if you're going to be doing, for most people, I mean, buying a house is probably the biggest financial commitment you're going to make in your entire life, and it's good to know that we've got SF folks that are involved in that stuff, that we can that can speak our language, and that we can feel that trust from the get-go. Because one great thing about being military law enforcement, you can gauge who you're dealing with very, very quickly. And so knowing that you're dealing with guys like, Ellie Olivas, who's behind Savage Lender, knowing that those guys come from the soft background, you can speak that language, you can feel good about who you're dealing with and know that you're getting a good deal. And so we're really proud to have them as sponsors for this event.
Well, guys, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Don't forget about the Combat Diver store. You can get all of their shirts like Lino's wearing, the hats like Lino's wearing. Diver Girl is the official kind of logo.
Diver Girl is belongs to the artist Andrew Wiedemann. Gave us exclusive rights to help keep Diver Girl within the community. So if you want Diver Girl gear, we've got it, stickers and T-shirts.
Yeah, there's dive watches on there, everything. Guys, don't forget about Deep Dive 2021. It's going to be huge. Everyone's glad that COVID's over. Everyone's glad they can get back out, see live music, maybe take a dive. Like Lino said, you can't miss this opportunity to get into this kind of environment, the beach, the ocean, live music, drinks, a day to nighttime. It's going to be at the Floribama Marina. Well, Floribama Bar is where the event's going to take place. The dive will take place at the marina. Everything is in Orange Beach, Alabama. You can go to combatdiver.org, combatdiver.org. And that will give you all the information that you need on here. You can register for the 5K, you can register for the auction, and you can get anything that you want from the CDF store. Lino, is there anything else you want to plug?
No, DJ, I really appreciate you having us on. Deep Dive is going to be a great event, and we really hope that everybody can join us. And if you can't come down to the Floribama on the 21st of August, join us virtually. You know, we're going to have some really cool videos announcing programs for the following year. Things like Jump and Dive 2022. We've got a 2022 art program we're going to unveil. We're going to unveil also the Virtual Combat Diver Museum, which is going to be a really, really cool way for us to actually start making our way towards achieving our mission statement of preserving the combat diver history. So all of that stuff is getting announced at Deep Dive 2021, but good times, lots of prizes. Come on down. Whether you can make it to the Floribama in person or just join us virtually, we'd love to have you.
Don't forget, guys, Combat Diver. It's combatdiver.org. You can register for everything. That's Lino. I'm DJ. If you want some more of me, you can catch me on Twitter, DoublespeakDJ, where we'll keep you updated on Deep Dive, Facebook at the DTD Podcast, and on YouTube at the DTD Podcast. Lino, thanks for stopping by and talking about everything. We'll get this out there, and we hope this event goes off like gangbusters for you this year.
Awesome. Thanks, DJ.
We'll see you guys later.